Hello and welcome to The Lobby, GameSpot's weekly chat show every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific right here on GameSpot.com. I'm your host, Daniel Dwyer, joined by Mr. Justin Haywald.
Howdy, howdy.
How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. There's a lot of news this week, so
there is.
So join you guys.
What better person to come on to tell us all about that stuff? And of course, Alexa Ray Correa, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing better because I heard that a game that might have gone missing, The Last Guardian, looked like the trademark was getting, Sony hadn't updated the trademark, but then that seems that might be a clerical error. And
did you ever think that it would actually be going away? Do you really think that at this point,
after E3 last year when they didn't show it off, because everyone said, oh, they're showing it off this year, all the whispers in the industry said it's definitely, and then nada. And then I thought, you know what, maybe not. And you produced a great video last week with Mary about sort of games that have dropped off our radar.
I did. Yeah, and there are a lot of them that have dropped off our radar, actually. The Last Guardian was not included, but they include things like, I think people forgot that there's a new Gears of War in development, and Cliff Blazinski's Project Blue Streak. I think we're going to hear more about that at GDC. He has a panel. The Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover, the new Crackdown, the new Phantom Dust, the new Mirror's Edge. There's a lot of things that have sort of been announced and then gone by the wayside. There have been long stretches. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
The Witcher 3 guys. Where is that game?
That was a really good trailer.
That was an awesome trailer.
Yeah, for something we've not seen anything else of. I guess they're probably got their hands full at the moment with
The Witcher.
With The Witcher. It's coming in just a couple of months.
And The Last Guardian is kind of a weird case because I remember when I first started into video games, back in 2008, that was something that was announced. And every year they've renewed the trademark, and so a lot of people were scared for The Last Guardian because suddenly Sony didn't renew the trademark, and it's something we haven't heard about for such a long time. They were like, well, guess that means it's canceled. And Sony was like, no, we assure you, it's still in development. But that's literally all we've heard for the past 3 years is we haven't seen anything new. It's just in development. Ueda, the Fumito Ueda, who has worked on the game, who's worked with that studio for such a long time and is the creative vision behind it, has basically said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I contributed what I needed to that game, and I'm out. So now we're just we assume it's going to be a PS4 game, but literally nothing.
So is that not a massive worry that the clout, the reason people were interested in The Last Guardian was because of the development clout behind it, and then it just seems like maybe now they have this name that has such an attachment to it that they're just going to push out something years later that won't actually have anything to do with the creative seed that it first started from.
Man, it would be such an interesting story to be behind the scenes and just to see the drama that must be going on there. That has to be really, stretched out now. Probably not. Day to day, it's probably really boring. But if you were able to condense it now, if you were able to do one of those behind the scenes things, but that happens to a lot of games. Sometimes it really hurts them. Duke Nukem.
Yeah, absolutely.
A long time for that, and switching so many studios. Whereas Sony, for them, they've kept this a lot more under wraps. We really don't know what's going on. We haven't seen it in different versions. We don't know what those changes have been. So, it could be any number of problems that have kept it from coming out. But it could also be because they're trying to find the best way to bring it out, or maybe what they were coming up with for PS3 didn't really translate over to PS4. And it could be really good now. Maybe. Well,
hopefully we'll find out over the next 5 months or so with GDC coming up in a couple of weeks. E3, though, is when obviously we see so many new game announcements. Last year there was absolutely tons of them. Some we've not heard of since. I think of games like Phantom Dust, Scalebound, Crackdown.
Yeah. They've mentioned them. I know that one of the Microsoft producers has gone on a couple podcasts and been you're going to find out more at E3, or Scalebound is going to be a 60-hour RPG. But we don't really know what Scalebound is yet.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what the new Crackdown is yet. We just have that trailer. Same with the Phantom Dust reboot. So I think E3 will be big for those three. Microsoft is going to give us everything we want, or they can give right now for those three.
Surely some sort of new Gears.
The new Gears, maybe, because they released an update last year where Rod Ferguson showed a concept art that was blurred out. So we know that they're working on it. Maybe we'll get an announcement. That'd be nice. Now that the Xbox One's doing fairly well, I think now would be a good time to announce it.
And that kind of thing doesn't mean that those are in trouble. I mean, in the same way that movies, like you'll see a trailer for something at Comic-Con, and that just means that they're teasing it, they're working on it, and you really don't want to hear too much more about it. Like sometimes seeing too much can set up expectations, or things can change.
Yeah.
Like a really good example is BioShock Infinite, where we saw a lot of that game in the lead up, and a lot of that didn't get into the final game.
Yeah, if you watch that first trailer now, it's like it's so far removed from what actually came out.
Yeah, they weren't able to use those ideas, or they had to use them in different ways. You have to scale back, I mean, because of the reality of making these games on these huge budgets.
Last week as well, we heard about something else that's going to be happening at E3 that I'm very, very excited about, which is that Bethesda Softworks are going to be having their own little Ubisoft EA-style show and tell. What games do you think might come up in that?
It's got to be Fallout 4. This is their first ever press conference. It's got to be Fallout 4. We have the new Doom that's in development right now. We'll probably see more of that.
Yeah,
hopefully.
that was like, they showed that at QuakeCon.
It was like
last year there was a tease.
Only people in the room saw it though, so no one outside of there has seen it.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna jump out on a limb and say that we're gonna see another Dishonored.
Yeah, Dishonored 2, good shout. Maybe a Wet 2. That hot franchise Wet.
Maybe.
I mean, those are the things you want to bring out when you're going to do your own conference. But do you think they're going to do a full conference? Do you think it would be, going the route of Nintendo and doing a kind of video direct thing?
Yeah.
Which could be cool too.
I think they have with the amount of like what Bethesda is now is like they're just publishing so much stuff that they have enough fans to like fill out a room and like say this is everything we have. Like if Ubisoft can do it right now, I think like Bethesda are in a good place to do it as well. I'm kind of with you. I don't think they can do that without announcing Fallout 4 and like the amount of rumblings about it last year. Myself and Andy put out a video last year saying like it's definitely going to be at E3 this year. Like there's too many people talking about it and then nothing, and like I was absolutely gutted. But there's still like those voices are still saying like, What's that team? What's the Skyrim team been working on since then? Like they have to be working on something, and the good money's on Fallout, right?
This has to be it.
Or it could be a collectible card game. Follow that Hearthstone model.
Right.
But it'll be match 3, and you'll have like little Fallout heads. And
I guess we'll have to wait and see. E3 is on in a couple of months. GDC though is on in a couple of weeks. That seems to be the time of year when all those secrets like start to come out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drinking at GDC. I mean, GDC is not an E3 level conference. It is the game developers conference, and traditionally it's always been for game developers. But more and more, it is a place where people are showing off new stuff, and we know a lot of things. Like they've been very public with some stuff that's going to be at the show. Steam is going to be showing off new Steam machines. Microsoft has said they're going to have a big presence. Like there are going to be games there, which is somewhat in some ways takes away from the spirit of what GDC is about, but it's really exciting for us, like especially since it's right down the road, it's right next to us, and a lot of people hang out. There's a lot of game developers, and not all of them are as good with keeping secrets as some others. Sometimes you're just walking around and they'll just be talking about, oh yeah, Fallout 5 is totally this awesome game. You're like,
the W bar. Go camp out in the W bar.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's where everyone goes to leak their secrets.
There you go. So if you're in the San Francisco area around early March, head to the W bar, and then you won't have to listen to GameSpot.com anymore. You can just get it all from the source right there. Let us know what you think about The Last Guardian and some of those other games that we might see in 2015 in the comments below.